Welcome to another episode of Let Her Finish. How is everyone tonight?
Good.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I thought that we would jump into a topic of Facebook security. I don't know if anyone noticed, but 2 weeks ago, basically everyone was logged out of their Facebook account from all mobile devices, all laptops, wherever you was logged into it. The reason being is that 50 million accounts apparently were hacked into. So basically, the hackers could get into your account and log in as if they were you. Now, the scary part is that once Facebook publicly announces, people were trying to share it on Facebook to let other people know, this happened, but apparently people were getting a pop-up message like, apparently that this article is not appropriate with Facebook's content policy. So basically, they were blocking the story.
Facebook censorship.
Yeah. So that had me, obviously this is scary because I feel in other places as well as here, people go onto Facebook to get their news. So the question came up to me, well, okay, based on this algorithm, what other news am I being fed, or what am I not seeing that maybe as a Facebook user? Okay, I like to view myself as more critical, but maybe persons who literally go on Facebook to get all the news. They think that whatever they see on Facebook is what's happening around the world.
You know what I find it strange with that though? That I didn't get it through WhatsApp. Don't you guys get a lot of like news and stuff that's
That's
through
another.
WhatsApp and St. Martin?
That's another big one. That's another big one
and
here.
actually, on Instagram, I follow this guy, and sometimes he posts a picture that says, "Please like if you see this message," because only like 7% of my followers can see this message. So that means that all social media platforms are like censoring and feeding people information, and it's supposed to be a platform where it's like freedom of speech. So it comes into a big question.
And then it has an algorithm too that whatever you, for instance, like, for instance, if you're a person who is trying to like more conservative news, that's what Facebook is going to feed you.
And
And
then on
then,
Instagram, if you search for one thing,
Yeah.
next day your
News
Explorer
feed.
is just full of the same thing.
Yeah.
But couldn't we have seen this coming because Facebook got blamed for Russia, the whole election, those kind of things.
Yeah, definitely.
Influencing the
elections.
So they were already busy trying to filter in those things to take certain actions where that was concerned. So now it hits closer to home. So we're all a little bit concerned, but they have already been doing these types of things.
Yeah. And it's not only, the censoring of information, but it's also security, because I also read in the news that because they require, for example, they require financial institutions to protect the information of clients, and it's sensitive information. Facebook has that same sensitive information.
Right.
So they're looking at now, okay, do we now regulate how Facebook, operates? Like it's a freedom of speech platform. Like, how do we regulate it so that?
and the thing is with Facebook, I'm noticing is like, once something bad happens, that's when they're looking to maybe regulate or to maybe fix it. They're like waiting for the bad thing to happen first, and like they.
But sometimes you don't know.
But no,
If you have a platform with so many people, users, you always need to be thinking ahead. You need to think of your customer safety. I mean,
protection of your customers.
I actually know persons who don't have Facebook or Instagram just to avoid having their information. And like if you read the privacy statement, you will see a lot of there. They are entitled to use and distribute a lot of your information. So they actually they consciously decide to close or not have Facebook or Instagram and other types of social media.
But the thing is like once that person, okay, fine, you don't have Facebook, you don't have Instagram, but you have a Google account, you have
your information is still out there.
you have
Well, Anissa, you don't have a Facebook account, so what are your reasons?
I think it's been, how long? 3 years? And I feel so free. But the reason why
You had one though,
I had one,
and then you deleted
and then
it.
I deactivated it. And
wow.
my reason was more because I don't know, I was just too consumed, and I didn't like all the opinions. I didn't like all the I must admit I was wasting a lot of time on Facebook, and I get upset too when I read certain things and I read certain people's opinions, and I was just like, you know what, if I don't have nothing positive to contribute to Facebook, like if I don't have if I am not gonna share my opinion, or I'm not gonna post articles, or I'm not gonna post things of substance, I'm just gonna close it. But yes, I'm still present on other social media platforms. But you know, I for Facebook, I just.
But I'm sure it had times where you went on Facebook to look at like somebody sent you a link and you
Yes, and somebody sent me a
Because
link
you
and
can still
open it,
you
but-
can still view stuff.
Yeah, you can still view
I
stuff.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah?
you can still view stuff. And I do that, but to like scroll through and then your friends and then blah blah blah. Like I feel honestly completely free. And like too during like election time here, everybody like have their little opinions.
Facebook is ton of
I'm
when it comes
like,
to
you know
election.
what? I don't want to see that. I don't want to be part of that. And but the thing is, what I miss though is the sharing of information.
Right,
You know,
because-
videos.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
even news, like you know,
News.
I'm aware from 40 morning what the Daily Herald is
Yeah.
doing. I basically
True.
don't need to buy a
True.
newspaper
Yeah,
because all
because
the
you-
hot topics.
Yeah,
are
that's
on
another
Facebook.
like
Exactly.
all the news outlets now
Yeah,
locally
yeah.
are on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, so
And now they're
It's a
starting
great
to
news
have,
source.
yeah, but they're starting also to have a presence on other social media. But then, too, it forces you, if you don't have Facebook, to intentionally, if you
Go
want
and
to keep
search
up,
for information.
you know, search for information. You know, like okay, go on the website, pick up the newspaper, you know, etc., etc. So.
But Sabrina, do you suffer? You're on Facebook. Do you suffer or encounter Facebook overload, and what do you do?
For me, I'm very like I use Facebook as you know you find information, you find news and stuff. But I would always go and try to find a counter,
Yeah.
or I would always try to find more to the story. So I wouldn't just take a video as it is. I
Yes.
would go on Google, I would search first, and
Yes.
then form my opinion.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
for me, it's like I don't take whatever I see on Facebook as
Face
face value.
value,
right.
I would go and do some kind of research. I would always open. I would watch the video, and then my next step would always be, oh Google, let me
Yeah,
see.
let me
Yeah.
Let me see.
read.
Yeah, let me see what else is saying.
But don't you see that where people just automatically share things?
Yeah, without
Sometimes it's
doing-
not even true.
It's not.
I had to-
And you know what has happened a lot? Like they just take these things and they put it on WhatsApp. I feel
Yeah.
like here we have a big
yeah, and WhatsApp is another.
Yeah, but you see,
It's shared
and that could
between
go on
WhatsApp.
another topic on a more local level. The fact that we only have one news source, because you know people take things face value. Like they take
Right.
things. So you see something on Facebook, you're like, oh, this is the truth, this is the Bible, and you know most people are not like you. They don't go and they don't search. So it's kind of like you know you have one news source or one so-called reliable news source.
I feel like there's two sides to
And
every
there's
story.
two
You
sides,
need to-
and you have to have because one news source, we all know that, for example, American news or the fake news is sometimes a biased
Yeah,
perspective.
So I would see something on
So you would-
CNN, but you will go on Fox. Let me see what they are
What they're saying,
on
yeah.
Fox
So,
as
for
well.
example, here we don't really have that too. So
No,
we
yeah.
control the narrative. I mean, you know, whoever has a news source, they kind of control the narrative,
narrative
and that's
of
a
it.
very important
To
tool
Right.
to
Yeah.
lead the people into a direction that you want them to
To go.
think. It's
But
a
then-
control mechanism.
doesn't that make Facebook even more important for St. Martin? Because
Definitely.
If you
well,
want
under the
it to right
comments,
now,
you might
Well,
see
I-
something
true.
else.
How
So
effective do
Depends
people
though,
here
depends.
use Facebook?
That is-
That's
that-
another
Depends
question.
because, like for instance, if you have the Daily Herald, I guess our only newspaper.
Source, yeah.
I feel, I mean, if the article has a certain perspective and people like the Daily Herald and they're following the Daily Herald, that the comments are mostly, I would say maybe 1%, 2%, 3%. Okay, let's go up to 15%. Would say something that's countering it, but I feel like the majority agree with
yes.
what.
So if they put out something
Yeah.
that is, they set
Yeah,
the
but
tone.
Sid,
basically.
They set the
They
tone
set the tone
because
for how you feel about
yeah,
a certain
because
topic.
they think they're getting an objective piece of news,
Right.
but they don't understand that it's
Exactly, and-
framed.
Exactly, and do people really know what they want, or if they are fed information, they take it as is. They're like, oh yeah, like okay, that's true. I kind of thought that. Okay, fine, I agree. And it's not really investigative journalism. You know what I
No,
mean? It's not
not that.
you know, it's completely one-sided, and you need to counter that with some other news source, and that is dangerous. That Facebook is also doing that. They're filtering, so that means that on a wider scope, yeah, we're talking about the Daily Herald on a local scope, but on a wider international scope, if you're able to do that and you have users from across the world,
Right.
and you're able to filter information, and you're able to feed the population of the world what you want them to see, then that's dangerous.
yes.
And especially since we, you know, people say there's a term called information overload, and we as people have become very lazy, and we just take things at face value, and because you know that, you take advantage of that, and but then the population has a task or needs to personally understand that and say, you know what, hey, let me question exactly what's going on here.
Right.
Let me do my research.
Perspective. Yeah, that's why I do. But I don't know. I enjoy Facebook for that reason.
Yeah.
Is that in different groups you see how they dissect certain articles.
True.
It could be from wherever.
Yeah.
But how come? But you see how this one was? Oh, we have blogs, for example. Certain blogs I just don't click on, just because of the melly vibe that comes with it. Like I can't subscribe to that. I can't read it, and I think my goodness, not at all.
But even in blogs and stuff, it all depends on the person that is posting it,
right,
and what they have as a heading. So if they are negative, then the comments will be negative. That's what I feel.
That's how you
if
experience
it's positive, then the comments will be positive.
And it's up to the person who's reading it, because you could read it, right? You could go in, you could read it. It's up to you to take out what you feel is necessary or what is distractions, because it could be writing a bunch of distractions. You just gotta sift through that.
Right.
Most of the
time it's just a lot of just fluff. What is the point of it? And sometimes you check what's the source, what's the news source, is a credible news source, because if it has something like aidme.com or something like that, it's not like credible. I don't know where I come with that. But do you guys have like a social media policy about what you post? Because I personally on Facebook, I decide, sometimes my friends call me a Facebook terrorist a little bit.
Oh, why?
No, but just because sometimes
you're opinionated.
But very opinionated. But then I recently just got so tired of, it's like you're preaching to the choir, and you could better use your energy doing different things. So I've changed up my Facebook policy in a sense. I like to be provocative also, where I would ask a question and share something and let I'd like to do it that way.
Critical questions.
And then
think.
Just leave it go. Whatever happens. I also check different blogs. So I like to know what people are thinking, where they're going, and because then we won't be surprised when election come around. Basically,
true.
Or when certain things happen.
I got build it up.
If you pay attention to the crumbs that are around there, you won't be surprised with certain things that are taking place. Do you have a policy for your social media?
I mean, I don't really leave a lot of comments under a lot of stuff. What I do is I share things, and actually I share a lot of international news. I try to stay away from local news because I feel like everyone's watching and everyone thinks like you always have an agenda. So I tend to stay away from that. I do have my own opinions, and if I feel like it's something strongly that I'm against, I would, maybe speak up, and I like to come from it from as objectively as I can, and I don't like to really bash people right away, like, how could you think like this, I disagree with you, I try to say, okay, well, what about this, or because I've learned that that's maybe the kind of way to get on someone's level to have a conversation instead of just being like, well, what stupidness you talking about, bash them one time.
That's a really good point.
But that's really an article that has raged me inside, and I'm like, I need to comment. But usually I don't. Then I stay away. I just read it and I'm like, okay.
Well, talk about rage.
Right, okay.
Well, we I don't know, I guess we saw this video of this what was he again?
Bodybuilder.
He was a bodybuilder that
beat his
girlfriend for about
beat is not
40
even
minutes.
that was
beat is not even a word.
She tried to kill her.
Yes.
For 40 minutes.
Yes.
I don't understand how she survived.
And I mean, and okay, fine, like, and this is not a unique case. Like, this is something that goes on everywhere, domestic violence. And even, Aishita also shared a video with us about the culture in Papua New Guinea.
Right.
And basically in the video, the guys basically nonchalantly were like, yeah, we beat our wives because they don't listen. They gotta listen. So we beat them. Whatever we find, we beat them.
And it was considered a tradition.
It was
part of
normal.
cultural
Normal.
element.
Right.
And you
Just
could
like,
tell it was normal just by the way how they spoke about it. I
No,
was
you
taken
could tell it
aback.
was normal by the fact that they didn't want to hide their face. They
No,
were like,
they
no,
were,
I'm
yeah.
just gonna
they
talk
like
about
beef
the
up
gang
and
way.
like,
I don't care.
of course.
Yes.
Gang work
Of course.
was quite normal
Yeah.
because the way to initiate into the gang
gangs.
is to find a woman and rape her.
Yeah.
So basically, the women in that country are just under threat
Yes.
all the time. They
And
have
you know
a-
what's interesting is that some of them think that this is normal. I feel
Yeah.
like this is normal, and it's
Yeah.
like wow, like you
Yeah.
don't really think about it, but if that's what you grew up in,
Yeah.
and that's how you
The men,
thing
the
is,
men,
it's
you
the
mean?
norm.
Yeah,
The
but
men.
the thing is, like,
The women
domestic
too.
violence.
Like they felt
Yeah.
it was normal
Mhm.
for that the man
Yeah.
to be beating them.
But you know what? Well, in the beginning, they had like this woman who was speaking out, and she was like, I'm sick and tired of it.
Yes.
Like I have a daughter, and I don't want
Don't want
the
the
daughter to be
situation.
raised in a society like
Like
this.
this,
Like
yeah.
so, I get a sense from the women kind of understand that this
But I
is
think-
not right.
no, I think
Like
we have
this
a
is.
long way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long.
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
the
just
fact that
like-
she's standing up is a good thing, and I mean, yeah, they have a long way to go. But the thing is, the funny like. Domestic violence doesn't discriminate, so it doesn't discriminate against culture, religion. It happens through wherever. It's not a unique case. And like I was watching a TED talk, and this Harvard graduate, she was presenting, not presenting, but telling her story. So she's like a Harvard graduate, and she said, never in a million years would I think that I would be in a relationship where the man abused me. And she spoke about, the signs, the fact that she got caught up, she was in love and she got caught up, and, he made her feel, so she went through the steps, and he said first he idolized her, made her
Right.
feel like, she was great, and made her feel like the dominant one in the relationship. And then he isolated her. So he moved her away from her family and
Yeah.
her friends. And then he abused her, but then made her feel like he was the victim.
Yes.
So then she couldn't identify herself. She
Physical
literally
abuse,
said
or-
physical abuse. So it started off as mental abuse because that's manipulation in the
Yeah.
beginning. So that is a
Yeah.
form of abuse. And then he made her feel like he was the victim. So then she could not identify herself as a battered wife. So she was like, no, this is not happening to me because I'm here. I need to help him. I'm the only woman in the world that can help him.
Yes.
So
And
what was he saying, that he had a problem? Like he was admitting that
he,
he had a
he was
problem?
saying that so he was abused in the past, and he was saying the reason why he would always hit her is because she would either be angry or she
Trigger.
did something.
He would like
Yeah.
trigger
Yeah.
something. Like, why would you trigger
Yeah.
me if you
Yeah.
know I'm like this?
Yes.
And then turn. That's how you. That's how you turn it.
Yeah.
And
And it's
Psychology.
it's also a form of mental abuse as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, I mean, those cases we see here also of domestic abuse, and we have safe haven and those type of things. But what is the takeaway from these videos, these things? What is the message? What should we take away from this?
I guess
I
women should
mean-
realize that it's not normal.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And
I shouldn't be afraid of speaking up.
yeah.
But I mean,
And
it's
the
hard.
thing is, it was funny because you said that. She said that the worst question she was asked is, why didn't you leave? Like, it was it's the worst, most judgmental question that somebody could ask,
that
because
is definitely-
nobody really understands that, I do not identify myself as being abused, and also it's dangerous, and also
You don't see the danger
you don't
in
see
it.
the
Once you're in
danger,
it, you don't see the danger in it, and you think
But
you're the
sometimes-
one that's going to help
yeah,
them.
and sometimes they just think it's normal.
No,
like,
and the
like,
thing is, how she got out of it is she started, like what you said, speaking up. So she said she started telling everybody. She started telling strangers on the road that she would pass by, like, I'm being abused by this man. She started telling friends.
Oh, really?
She started telling neighbors. So she started
telling people.
breaking down that barrier. I'm
Well,
gonna be open about it, and then so it gave her, it empowered her to
take the next
take
step.
to take
Yeah.
the next.
So so that's what she did. Like first she told a whole bunch of people.
So she started telling people, so she didn't hide it anymore, because
Okay.
you oftentimes, the way how she said it, oftentimes she would make excuses for him.
Yeah.
Even though that's the way how
He was
he is. He was
upset.
upset, it's
Yeah.
my fault. Then she started saying, you know what, he does abuse, telling everybody, and then, feeling and getting the empowerment that she needed to realize that
Maybe it was it's talking to other people, was her
Yeah.
admitting it for herself.
That's true.
And be able to
Yes.
see
Yes.
it, for what it
True.
is, instead of
True.
sugarcoating
Coating it.
But that's a
and that
way.
is what also happens in our society, we
Right.
live behind
But I feel like, do we have like, there should be information about, because we could, there's information about Papua New Guinea, because they said, for example, between January and May there were 6,000 reported cases, and those are reported alone. But I couldn't find information about how much domestic abuse cases or how many women are taken into safe haven, for example. I couldn't find that readily on the internet, and I feel like we should have that information so at hand, so we can all be aware of how it lives in our society, because it definitely does.
Have some kind of statistics as what's going on here, I would think, but probably they don't want to publicize it then.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys think they should publicize something like this?
I definitely think that type of information is important to have, for research purposes, for example, or if I'm a victim or someone's a victim, they can go on and say, hey, I'm not alone.
Yeah, true.
See that it happened.
She did feel like she was alone.
Yeah,
that was one of the things she said. She was like,
definitely
and she figured out that, I think it was, I can't remember, I'm not going to quote the statistics in the US, but then she read the statistics and it was like 3 out of 10 women or 5 out of 10, something like that.
Yeah,
because
people just can't, I don't know, it's like, sometimes they just don't understand what's going on. Because I read Tiffany Haddish book, the actress.
Right.
She also explained that she was in an abusive relationship, a marriage actually, and she left, they divorced, and actually she went back
again. Right.
They remarried and everything. So it's like, and her explanation is, I don't think she could explain what was going into in your head at that time. You don't.
And sorry with that. And I think with that is probably in doing so, she probably burned a lot of bridges. I think certain friends or certain family members was like, how could you do that? And like. It's certain like distance with you and your close ones. I can imagine like how hard it was. I don't know if she's still together with.
No, she's not together. Remember, but you should read her book. I feel like it's
The Last
really
Black Unicorn.
The last
hilarious.
It's it's real. I feel like I'm having a conversation with her, and she's explaining her life, and I like the book, the Last Black Unicorn.
Yes, and I listened to it on Audible. She narrated it,
Oh,
so it
God.
was even better.
Wow.
It's hilarious.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
But I think we always focus on but we are focusing more on the men when it comes to they shouldn't do that. But we should also, as a society, I believe, our focus on women is our girls and see what it is have we missed, or did we miss in terms of bringing up our girls and teaching them of what they should accept and what standard they should uphold.
Right.
So while
their self-worth.
Yeah. So we have a multi-pronged approach that we need to take care of, I feel, as a society. So we have our boys that we need to let them know like it's not okay, there is consent, and you should keep your hands to yourself. But then our girls now, okay, this is you have agency, and you're worth it, and you shouldn't allow anybody to do these kind of things.
In that case, like let's say if you have a daughter that's growing up in this situation and is seeing the mother being abused, they'll think that that's
normal. Absolutely, absolutely.
When they grow up, they will feel like, hey, that's how it's supposed to be.
And a lot of
us go both ways, though.
Yes,
it doesn't necessarily mean that they will grow up thinking it, but they will find. Yeah, and that's important too to recognize. It's hard though, but to recognize that issues from your past usually come back. So you gotta nip it in the bud before it takes over you mentally.
And that's what the lady from Papua New Guinea was saying. She was like, I have a daughter and I don't want this to continue. I don't want her to think that this is...
Yeah, because she wants to set a role model for her daughter and say that, you don't necessarily have to accept this. This is not... If you standing up for herself, showing that she can walk away from the situation, shows her daughter that you do not have to accept this situation.
Right. And break the pattern.
Basically. Be brave.
Do you feel like in today's society, maybe that message is being spread around more compared to maybe like 10, 20 years?
I think we need to do
more.
A lot more work. There's a lot more work to be done in getting women, girls and women to understand that they don't have to depend on a man and in different ways, mentally or whatever. We like Chimamanda said, we teach girls how to
aspire to be married,
yeah,
aspire
to
for
be married and
yeah.
those type of things to live for the pleasure of men,
Yeah.
rather than for
Be their
themselves to
own-
be okay with themselves. And I
exactly.
mean,
And I think also men need to be more involved because, for
definitely.
instance, I went to
Yeah.
an event from Safe Haven the last time, and it was mostly women. You know, it didn't have a lot of men there. And it's like, this is who should be here to hear these things as well. You know, so it was kind of unfortunate that there were more women than men present,
Okay.
but they were discussing like domestic violence, and some ladies were giving their experience and stuff like that. So it was really like touching, and it's like it touched home because it's not what you see on TV
It's
or
here
social
that
media.
happens.
It's right
Yeah.
place and right there.
It's like passing someone on the street and not knowing.
And it was actually
Exactly.
like that, you know, like you see this person every day, and then you didn't know that this is her
what they're going
story,
through.
you know.
Yeah.
And it was really nice that they came up and they spoke about their experience,
Which is probably a very personal story, especially here on the
very personal.
island,
Yeah.
So-
like where everyone knows
Yes.
each other. So like, wow.
and it was like I thought it was like really courageous, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, you know, I
That's
think they
great.
need more
Love
of these
that.
events, but I do think more men
men
should
need to
attend
be involved.
because I didn't feel I had enough men there present, and that's who we should be speaking to as well.
Should those things be in the curriculum in schools, for example, like healthy and unhealthy?
Oh, I could see that being a taboo with the parents. I need to teach that to my child and stuff like
Well,
that.
for
I
example,
agree.
the AIDS Foundation, they have they in second form, sometimes even a little before that, they have sex ed. So
Yeah.
you get, but then I'm a facilitator for the boys program, and it's really cool to see. It's not only about education, sex education, but it's also about healthy and unhealthy relationships. And,
Oh, that's
you know, so that
important.
goes some program
do they-
like that.
The emotional aspect.
Do
Exactly.
they do the same for the girls?
I haven't followed that program, but we all had girl talk.
Yeah.
If you guys had that in high school, no,
I
you
did.
didn't?
I think
can't
so.
I don't know if it was girl talk.
Yes, girl talk. Yeah.
In high school, right?
Yes, I
We had it
remember
conjoined though. It was so it wasn't it wasn't just specifically for the girls, but the boys were there as well, and we talked about more the also the unwanted pregnancy aspect of it. We had to take care of a child for like I think it was 3 hours or something, like those
Okay,
those robot
okay.
babies.
Okay. So there's a girl talk program, and then there's a real talk for the boys, and I think it's because you see their minds like opening up, and they have so many questions. You see even at high school level, the parents have not given them that information.
Yeah.
So it's
Ooh.
critical.
Yeah.
And some of them admit and say, no, I can't go home with that book. My mother would. Or my father would. You know, I can't do that. But the information that they got is so critical. They ask you so much questions where you know, think about it. Is your kid's health? Is there and so I enjoyed that program is just not only on sex ed, but also surrounding it. And I think we can definitely build on that. We should build on that. And I think to your question, the Girl Zone, I think it's telling them about you know, confidence, building their
yes.
confidence, and you know, I haven't followed that one yet. So I
But
don't
do
know
you
what
guys
I'm.
do all high schools?
Yes, just about high schools. I've done the facilitating at Sundial, St. Dominic, and I might be able to do MPC. So they do the.
That's great.
Do you think that is why do you think that is such a taboo here? Like to talk about these things, to like, you know, air them out in the public.
I think it's about only here. I think
I think,
worldwide,
yeah,
I
well,
like kind of like
I mean,
worldwide.
I do like to think our culture like that kind of mirrors something that's, I don't want to say old timey, but very, you know,
Yeah.
conservative, traditional, and
Definitely.
and it follows a cycle. Whereas, for instance, if it was taboo for instance, me growing up as a kid, if I'm raised in that way, maybe I think it's something similar as to how I should do with my kids, and maybe it continued like that.
Yeah.
And coming back to that, I do believe like a lot of the parents believe that it's the school's responsibility
True.
to discuss that with them, because
And it starts. A lot of these things start at home. You know, like, you know, being open with your child and teaching them, because at the end of the day, you know, school is just one aspect of their life. What about at home? You know,
But it's good that the
you set in
schools-
a foundation for your child, you know, to build off of, and you know, it's, you're not just dropping your child off, you know, at school and then the job ends there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
And how can like one program of 3 days cover everything that what it means about?
And that's what I was
Impossible.
going to ask you. How sustainable do you
Yeah.
think this program is? It's a great initiative, but I feel like you mentioned, we need to do more.
Yeah.
How do we make it part, and how do we make it
you guys have plans to do
sustainable?
that?
Well, I'm not part of the management, but,
No, but in
I do know
general,
that they have
yeah.
like something called Boost, a program where because you come to the kids first at first form, second form, but then they develop some knowledge as they go on. So just
Because
before
if they don't,
Every year, I think we need to go.
because believe me, what you not learn from your parents, you learn it somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's true.
And probably wrong information too.
Yeah, so they have a program now that I think they're piloting, which is Boost, and they go back and see and test the knowledge and see where the kids are at right now. But I think something like that is so
Necessary.
pivotal, and I think we don't do enough to inform our kids. Because by
Is
the
that
time
because it's taboo? Is that because
I think
it's,
it is.
we
it
don't
is.
want to like tell our kids really, or like
Well, I think there's
what
something
is
in
it?
the curriculum at high schools, right?
And in high school,
Biology.
but I don't know if
The
it
only thing I
started
know
with
is
you
it's
in
that
5th grade and
3-day
6th grade,
thing.
because that's when it started with me. They kind of
Okay.
explained the biology.
Yeah.
And I think when I was in 5th and 6th grade, I think there might have been some parents that thought like, why are you teaching them at 5th and 6th grade these things? They thought it's something that they should have taught them in high school. They said it's too early. While like, for instance, a lot of my classmates are already on their periods, already menstruating. I was like, why you waited to high school to
So,
tell them what's happening with their body?
But why? Okay, we can't speak for all parents because they have some parents that are very
Yeah, that's
progressive
true, that's
and
true.
do
Because
there are few
shouldn't
of
it
those.
go with the times? Like right now, we're very advanced in technology. Kids can go on YouTube.
Yeah,
Kids
they
are
have access
to
access to
everything.
all types of information.
yes.
So if you know this, don't you want to jump the gun and be like, hey, before my child finds out or synchronize it, like, I know my child is on the internet, maybe I should, and maybe that is being
Right.
done, but too on a level of education,
That's true.
Right.
implementing it more formally,
Yeah.
maybe could make it more sustainable and create.
Maybe,
awareness.
but it still doesn't negate the role of the parent
No,
at
it does
home
not.
because there's only so much school can do. We already have so much exactifucker or the things that you need to be teaching, and the basis of a healthy relationship and agency and consent and all of those kind of type of things should be at home. And the topic shouldn't be. The thing is, kids just don't feel comfortable speaking to the parents about it, or the parents should be open. Hey, you could come speak to me about this, or let's speak about it. Let's start talking. Even at, I think there is age-appropriate conversations you can have, even at
Different
2, at
ages,
3,
yeah,
at 4,
definitely.
at 5,
Yeah.
and go on.
Yeah.
And we should
Yeah.
do that to avoid having, because by high school, your kid already have formulated their opinion about themselves.
True.
And and how they see other people and what they like. Maybe it's too late, and then they might have. Or the next thing too, they also see what is projected at home. So whatever the parents are doing or not doing, that kid is already.
And the thing is, like, we're in a time, age, that you can have online presence or communities in which, or not even, it doesn't even have to be online, but communities that we can create to make it a safe place, to discuss these things. And even to, as parents, if you don't know how to discuss it with your kids, create communities where people can come together and say, I have a challenge speaking to my 9-year-old about this, like, how do you guys deal with it, and create a presence,
Yes.
create communities, because oftentimes I feel like what happens is people think that they are alone,
Yeah.
Or they're not sure
they're not
how
sure,
to do
or
it.
am I this is a unique situation for me, so
Yeah.
when you create these communities, then you make it a comfort, you make it
Maybe that comes from the judgy way of
True.
people always say, well, how are you raising your child? And always have a comment as to the methods you use or stuff like
But
that.
then if you create a community, you set a precedent that, hey, we're open. Like, let's come sit together and let's discuss
nothing
this.
like that
We don't have
here.
nothing like that here. In
Well, I don't
any
know. I don't
aspect.
know.
Well,
Do we?
I don't
I'm
think
not
so.
parents, so.
I mean, I don't know. But
And the thing is, I'm saying, oh yeah, it's still a taboo, but I'm saying now, I'm being critical, I'm reflecting. Is it though? Like, what are the parents thinking nowadays? I don't know, like.
Okay, well, let's start with us. Were you comfortable speaking
No.
with your parents about?
the thing is, like, my mom, for example, maybe not my dad, but my mom, hi mom, she was very open with us, you know. She didn't hide behind a sheet, you know. She was straight out open with us. So
you were able to.
So not to say I was sharing information left, right, and center, but I knew that if I had to, or if I felt like I needed to, she was there. You know, I didn't feel uncomfortable in a way, and you know, her openness also allowed me to feel comfortable, because if you as a parent present yourself as this perfect human being who never did anything wrong, then you're like, damn, like you feel bad if you maybe would have done some mess up or whatever, and you don't feel comfortable going to your parent. But you know, my mom brought herself down to our level at age and was like, guys, X, Y, and Z, you know, spoke to us, and she, you know, she was never a perfect human being. She isn't, and if you come from that perspective, I think as a child you feel more comfortable
coming to your parent. And Sabrina, yourself?
No, I think it was kind of different. It was kind of just not had that open discussion.
Right.
So, but I think times are changing.
Yeah.
And I think then for us, we would be more open. And
with conversations like these, you know, you know, bring up the topic, you know, discuss it. Oh, what, you know, we reflect on, okay, how was it, but how are we doing it now, and how can we progress it? So I think that's all that we can do. Keep the conversation open. Guys, I think we discussed a lot. You know, we talked about Facebook and security issues and where we get our news, and we delved into the topic of sexual behavior and domestic violence. So, if you guys have any of your own opinions or your own comments that you disagree with us at any point, you know, keep the conversation open. That's what we're here for. Like, subscribe, comment,
share.
let us know.
Share with your friends. And that's right.
That's a wrap.
I said that's a wrap.